Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you so much for being here. I just want to say it's such an honor to be among this group over these past couple of days and to be among you. Thank you. So I'm going to be talking a little bit today about generational food business and a legacy that you can create with a generational business. So my name is Emilia Spadafora. I am the creative director, as she mentioned, of our pastry department at our family business, La Rose Italian Bakery, specialty foods and fine Italian bakery. I am a cake artist and pastry chef, and my parents actually started our business 40 years ago. So the business was founded in 1982, and I have two brothers and a sister, and both of my parents are still involved every day. All of my siblings, in some form or another, are involved in our family business, along with close to 60 employees that contribute to our business on a daily basis. So what does it mean to grow up in a family business? That picture, that's my mom and dad and our extended family. And I thought this quote really hit home and really speaks the truth. Behind the success of every small business, there is a family. Absolutely. And that's how it all starts. It starts small. It starts with the love of the family into the business. And then the business grows. And the way that you nurture it, the way that the family contributes to it, the business grows into something bigger than just a small business. So when I was younger, I used to joke that the business, La Rose, was the favorite child because my mom and my dad, it seemed to me at the time that they gave all of their attention and all of their time to the business. But now that I am a parent myself, I realize that yes, the business is definitely a part of the family, but absolutely everyone in the family contributes to that business and nurtures the business in some form or another. So, even though my husband isn't part of the business, he's still a member of my family, and yes, he contributes in a way. So it is the love that goes into the business as well as the sacrifices that are made by all family within it, and then the nurturing that goes in from every family member. And then, growing up in a family business, it's really just a way of life. For me and my siblings, after school, we went to the bakery. We didn't go home. We learned cash register from really young ages. We contributed on the weekends. We helped out with cookies or slicing bread or whatever needed to be done. But that's the way a family is, right? You just jump in, you do what needs to be done, you help out when you can. Also, within a family business, your customers really relate to you. I know with our customers, we've had some that have been with us from day one, and now they're like an extension of our own family. So that's a picture of me when I was 7 years old. And back then, the town that we started our business in, Milton, was much smaller than what it is today, and that was actually front page news back then. So La Rose was raffling off those stuffies, and a lot of our customers today that have been with us since day one actually remember me still like that. And they remember my siblings in that way as well, because they have witnessed us grow both with and within the business. And now, fast forward, Milton is actually about 10 times the size that it used to be when the business started 40 years ago. I believe it's over 200,000 in population now, and the business has evolved quite a bit with the explosion of residents in our town. So, sharing work with family. I already told you I have two brothers and a sister and that my parents are still involved in the business every single day. And when I tell people what I do, sometimes people look at me with shock. And sometimes I think they cringe because they're like, how do you spend so many hours every single day with so much of your family? And I usually get the question, how does that work? So there's one thing I can tell you for sure, and all of us are on the same page about it. Family is first and above all else. While all of us are completely committed to the business, we are also completely committed to each other. We know that no matter what, family is constant. Yeah, we disagree. Yep, we still yell at each other. We have arguments. Everything you think like a normal brother and sister, sibling relationship would be like, it's still like that in the business, but we're able to always come back to one another. We are committed to one another in the sense that we always listen to each other. If we need a 24-hour cool-off period, it happens, but we always come back and we find common ground and we find a way to agree and move the business forward. One of the really important things that I found that makes this happen is that we all have really clearly defined rules within the business. Now, having defined rules is important in any business, but I think it's super important in a family business because when it's a family business, you have, it's a different relationship to all of the tasks. You feel like you're responsible over here and over here and over here, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can create different sections so that everybody tackles a different section and we stay within our own lines. So I always joke, with my brother where I'm like, okay, so the bounds are drawn here. This over here is all mine. This is my department. That over there, that's yours. And we stay, like, even though we get along and we talk to each other about what we're doing, we always respect our boundaries and understand what our roles are. So first step was finding the right role for everybody involved in the business and making sure that the role challenged the skill set and still inspired them, because of course, as long as every family member is inspired in their role, they will continue to grow the business. Then after that was writing a job description for every role. I'm going to say that again, it has to be written down. It is so important. It has to be super specific. It has to be super detailed. You have to write it like you are writing a job description that you're going to post on a job board and hire for it. And then it has to be distributed so that everybody understands what these different roles are and where the different responsibilities fall. And then we hold each other accountable. So it can be really easy to let things slide in a family business because it's your family, because you don't want to cause conflict, because, hey, no problem, you didn't get to that? When do you think? Maybe next week? No problem. No, we can't do that. We have to hold each other accountable for our own responsibilities within our roles. We would never allow something like that to slide with another employee or manager, so we don't allow it within each other. So this is a short little video on what can happen when roles are not clearly defined.
Okay, can I ask a question? If I say I'm the
Oh,
co-owner,
there's
right?
no volume. Neil?
Co-owner's the owner.
That's not right. If I say I'm the co-owner, you're the co-owner. Can we start again, please?
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah. Neil, how do I play that again?
Sure.
No. We just keep rolling.
Okay, can I ask a question? If I say I'm the co-owner, why are you the owner? We're both co-owners.
Co-owner's the owner.
That's not right. If I say I'm the co-owner, you're the co-owner. Can we start again, please?
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my mom and dad. That's over 10 years ago. My mom is here with me. Thank you, Mom. I'm actually really super proud of that moment because my mom stood up for herself and said, hang on a second, we are both co-owners. And I agree with her because you know what? Since day one, they both put in their blood, sweat, and tears into that business. They both put everything in. And, sometimes the patriarch of the family can say, I'm the owner. So Mom, good on you for making sure that the titles were figured out. And since then, they both use the title co-owner. Another really important part of any business, of course, is knowing your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So in our business, I'm actually really fortunate. My brother's is the numbers guy. So he creates the spreadsheets, he does all the formulas, and then he creates this beautiful package and sends it out to us with all of the summaries of what's happened over the past month. And we look at these metrics once a month usually, so that all of us are on the same page and we know where the business is going. And we're able to see, okay, we did this well, this is going in the right direction, why did this fall over here? So we're able to troubleshoot as well as look at things and make decisions around them. So we really try to allow the numbers to paint the picture. And it's really important in a family business because there's so much emotion and passion that we all put into it because we're so invested, right? Because it's like a part of our family. So before we make decisions, we have to step back and go back to the numbers and have something that is concrete that we can look at before we make a decision. I have a picture up there. That's our tomato sauce, and that's actually something new for us. Not that the tomato sauce is new, but that we are now doing a higher production. So this would be one of our first steps into food manufacturing. And we chose our tomato sauce. Why do we choose the tomato sauce? Because the numbers told us to. Because we were able to determine where the demand is, and we were able to say, okay, if we're going to take a risk and move into higher production, we're pretty secure with what the numbers have been in the past that this is going to be a good investment for the future. Another example of our numbers is in marketing. So we're able to look at everything down to each individual product, and we'll line that up against different marketing promotions that we do. And we use usually our social channels for marketing, and usually it's Instagram and Facebook because that's where we hold most strength, I would say. And so when we run a promotion, we're able to run the promotion, look at the social numbers that they give us, but also look at the numbers of sales at the same time. So what can I tell you from that? From some of the promotions that we've done, I can tell you what works for us. Instagram usually performs better than Facebook. Photos usually perform better than videos for us. And the sales will actually spike for 1 day, maximum 2 days from the time that we post. So it's a short spike in sales, but you can see it in the numbers. So part of legacy is preparing for the future. And preparing for the future is making sure process is in place. So I had a business mentor, and he asked me this question: Emily, if you are gone tomorrow, can the business continue without you? Truthfully, I had never considered that question until he asked me. And it sat with me. It was really heavy. And it slept with me. I dreamt about it. And I woke up knowing when he asked me that question, the answer was no. No, the business would be a mess if something happened to me tomorrow and I was gone. So that really started me on cleaning up my act, let's say, and creating process for the business. So I started by, as I said, I'm a cake artist and pastry chef, and I run the pastry department. So one of the first things in process for me was making sure that all of the recipes were properly recorded, that all of the measurements were absolutely accurate, that all of my ingredient lists were clearly laid out, that all of my contacts that go along with my ingredients and my sources, everything was available. I started documenting how I answered certain queries. I started documenting how we go about different things And I did it sort of on the fly at first. I would take my phone with me everywhere I went, and when I realized I was doing something that needed to be documented, I would take out my phone, use my voice recorder app, I'd talk about what I'm doing, and then I'd let the app transcribe it, and then I put it into my folder where all my other process documents are, knowing that if anything happened to me tomorrow, somebody can go into that folder and find what they need. So the other question this business mentor asked me is, if the markets crash tomorrow, how would your business still be relevant? He asked me that question in 2019. So little did we know that come March of 2020, this question was actually really important. Not that the stock markets crashed, but a global crisis was upon us. And how was our business going to be relevant in a crisis? So originally, my answer to this question was actually the same answer that my dad gave me when I asked him so many years ago, "Dad, why? Of all of the things, of all of the businesses that you could go into, why did you choose a retail bakery?" And to back that up, my dad actually has training as an engineer and had a construction company first before he changed into the business that we have now. So I was always curious, "Dad, why did you choose this?" And his answer was really simple. He was like, "Because everyone always needs food. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter if there's a recession. It doesn't matter what else is going on. No matter what, people need food." And that's one thing that all of us tie together here. We will always have that. We will always be able to serve our communities with food. It's up to us to figure out how to deliver that to people and how to make it the best possible for them, but we all have that in common. So when COVID hit, it hit our business, not that we shut down like so many others did, but it hit our business in a different kind of way. So we went from close to 60 employees down to maybe 15. And it wasn't because we laid anybody off, it's because everybody was afraid to work. So we were, at about a third of our regular staff. Between me, my brother, and a few other key players, we were working 12 to 14 hour days, 7 days a week to secure the business and to make sure that we're serving our customers. Because if you all remember, when COVID hit, everybody wanted to stockpile their food. So it happened to us too. So the demand was still there. We still had all of our customers, but we hardly had the staff to handle it. But we got through. And then the other thing we had to do, because soon enough, the customers were also afraid to come into the store. So we had to offer, for the first time ever, a curbside service, which we had never done before. And we are not technologically driven, but we figured it out, and we made it work. We connected with our customers again in a way that we hadn't in years, and we were able to serve them and process their orders and offer them this curbside service and make sure that our business was relevant. So those two questions were really important, and if you're in your own business, I think those two questions, if you have never answered them yourself, are really important. And then as we think about process and why we're doing it, it's because we're making room for the future generation. So right now there are 4 grandchildren in the family. And actually the grandchildren, they're young in those photos, but they're between the ages of 13 and 15 now. And the 15-year-olds have started working with us, part-time, of course. And who knows what the future will hold? Who knows if they will continue the business? It is our hope that one of them might want to. But it's different with them. I mean, they come to the bakery because they want to and they think it's fun. And they help out their grandparents whenever they can. And they're also involved in community events. And It's just really nice to see that the next generation is coming. And then, the business has been here for 40 years. Let's hope it's there for another 40. And if they choose to work in the business, we've decided that each of them will start in customer service roles, and they will rotate through each sector of the business, right? Because serving our customers is number one. And then, if they decide to go into the business and they are older and they'll get more responsibilities, they will start evolving the business into something new. Just like when me and my siblings really took leadership in the business, we evolved it in certain ways. And it will happen again, because that's what it means to be in a family business. Everyone brings something different. Everyone nurtures the business in a different way. Every contribution helps that business grow. And then legacy is not only about family, not only about the business itself, but I find legacy is about contribution and supporting our community, because the community supports LaRose, and LaRose supports the community in return. And this has been one of the most defining things for us for legacy. So my parents have always backed our local hospital. To date, they have donated over $250,000 to our local hospital. My brothers started a fundraiser, an annual fundraiser as well. It's called Italia Fest. It's local. It's a cultural festival, but it's also a fundraiser. And it raises funds every single year that we choose a different charity for and send those funds to. We also support local sports teams, food banks, churches of all denominations. We support where we can. And this has been the biggest gift. That's really where family business becomes something more, right? The business is its own entity, and the family puts everything into it. And then it becomes something more because we're able to give to our community and make a difference in somebody else's life. So it started as a small family business. We'll see what the few years in the future have to bring. I know that with all of our family involved, as long as we all contribute, as long as we all nurture, it will continue to grow, and I hope we always grow it into something my parents are proud of. I also hope for the future, and I hope that at least one thing that I have been able to share with you today speaks to you. And I hope that it helps you reflect on your own business and what legacy means to you. I thank you all so much. I am so honored to be here, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So my question is, thank you. My question is, my son is now turning 29. He's also a physician, and he is fascinated with our new company, and he is insisting on joining. I already made him a board member, so I can have the votes on my side, but that's beside point. How do I assimilate him from where he doesn't have a sense of entitlement? Because my kids are privileged, and they want more than they can handle at times, but he's really motivated at actually working in the company. How do I find a good way to assimilate? Because I don't want him to feel like underutilizing him, but at the same time, I don't want to give him a sense of entitlement. Does that make sense?
Completely. I'm going to try and answer this a little bit, but I'm also going to say I bet my mom would have a couple words about that in case you want to contribute. But have you sent him through operations? So he understands operations and has worked every piece of operation? Right. Mm.
Sorry. It doesn't matter that he doesn't know anything about business because he knows you know about the business, and you're always going to be there for him. I think what you need to know is that, I'm sorry, I saw that picture with my grandkids, and it's how important it is to you that he has made that decision. And
he did it on his own.
right, so isn't that just grand? I mean, how many parents have that option that their kids really want to be with them? In today's world, not too many. So I think you'll figure it all out. I think that's a great opportunity for him.
So my question goes kind of along those same lines. Being a family business, it's really difficult to create healthy boundaries for your employees and family members not to try to take advantage of. How do you create a healthy boundary without letting family overstep?
Without letting family overstep.
Meaning, like he was just saying, they have all these ideas and all this other stuff. When it's family, they usually have more of an opinion, they have more of an idea, they want to feel more important. But you also have employees that have been there for a long time. With family, there we go, I saw it register.
Yes, okay, I understand now. So that's a really terrific question. And I think it's going to be handled differently by every individual company, by the family that's running it. But if you have an employee that has been with you for years, and we have employees that have been with us for 25 years, and they express an interest in taking a more prominent role, we will definitely give them that opportunity. Now, depending on the company, like we have that opportunity because we have so many different departments. So we're able to, make sure that our employees have space to grow as well. Because if you have a whole bunch of, board members, but not the employees, you can have a really big problem. So there has to be space for employees to feel valued, to be able to grow, to know that they feel like a part of your family as well, and that they want to invest their time, right? Because your employees, they're giving you their hours of their life. And if we don't honor that, and we don't give them that opportunity, then they won't be with us. They will leave. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Well, we just want to talk. No, but the fact is, I was born and raised in a family ranching operation. We've been doing it for 100 years. So this might just be an example of how our family did it. We all kind of have to find our own way, right? I don't even know why I say right after that. It's kind of rude. But anyways, we as the kids, we almost were more accountable to the employees than dad or mom or the family. Like, you don't, just because dad is the big boss, that doesn't give you some trump card over people that have spent their lives building that business, right? The cowboy perspective I got from those people that weren't part of the family but were a huge part of that ranch being what it was, those were the best lessons, almost, better than what I got from my parents. So some of that stuff, I might say it to you, Dr. Mom, is just put him under, not you, somebody else that's a trusted person in your organization, and say, look, okay, you can whine to me, but that's the decision maker. And that worked well for us. Like, I was expected to go do something that was relevant and recognizable. I couldn't just come home and say, okay, put me on the payroll. I want to have it easy. That wasn't going to fly. And that was just the way our family worked. And it's dynamic, and it's hard, and it's a lot of sacrifice from everybody, because always your talents can't be maximized in your mind. Anyways, that's the way I just thought I'd share that, because a lot of people really build a business for that legacy, to pass it on, and that's part of the big picture. And it's a dynamic, interesting thing. Also, as you're at the top and you're the older generation, you got to let go of those reins, pass them down to her. I think that's really impressive what y'all have done, so really big high five.
Thank you so much. A little bit more on what you were just talking about. I never thought I was going to be a part of this family business. I studied something completely different. I started in my own path, and then I ended up right back here. So it's amazing what can happen and how you are tied to something that you grew up with, and you're tied to, work, but you're also tied emotionally as well, and it's something, you grew up on the ranch. It's part of who you are. Just like this business is part of who I am. And Dr. Ram, I had to do school. So when I came back, I had to retrain. And I retrained not only in the profession that I'm in, but I also trained in business. And I didn't go to a 4-year MBA, but I trained in business. And I found my business mentors, and I ensured that for 2 years, I did all of my business training. So all of that was really important, but it was important to me, knowing that, oh my God, this is on me and my siblings one day. And if I don't train properly, then everything my parents built, we won't be able to hold it up. So whatever it is that your son needs training in, you can help him find his training. As long as his passion is there and he wants to be there, he will do all of the training he needs. Thank you.